Hi guys, I just figured I would do a quick video. I always like to give you some tips on buyers, and one thing that I thought about was F.O.R.D. So in case you guys don't know, F.O.R.D is family, occupation, recreation, and dream. So what does that actually mean? So F.O.R.D is the way into a conversation. It's the conversation to have. Just because you're just, at a house and you're discussing real estate and or you're on a listing presentation and you're discussing real estate doesn't mean that that has to be your entire conversation. The biggest part of getting anybody to trust you and to want to open up and tell you things is to actually have a normal conversation with them, and that will bring them comfort and will give you the chance to get as much information as possible without directly asking them a lot of questions. Because just through conversation, you can find out a lot about a person. So for instance, family, and I like the way LinkedIn put it. So unless you were raised by a pack of wolves, and even if, because that's a pretty interesting story, you have some sort of family, they have some sort of family. And, it's always good to say, do you have children? And, how's school? Oh my gosh, my daughter is going into middle school. And, just find a way to relate to them and get people talking about themselves. Even in the smallest ways. Again, like I said, I talk about my daughter going to middle school, and the process is a pain in the butt, and you got to apply, and then you don't find out for months, and all this fun stuff. So just, again, it's a way to relate to someone. When it comes to occupation, the O part, that is, you don't have to come out and say, well, what do you do for a living? Although you can try to ask them something like that. I would say you can say, how do you spend most of your time? And then you can kind of get an idea, what they do. If they hate their job, they may tell you. But it would open up doors into more conversation. You want to try and ask those open-ended questions to get that conversation going. The idea is conversation. The next one is recreation. So recreation is like hobbies, for instance. So what do? You into book clubs? Are you into video games or maybe powerlifting? I'm into powerlifting. See these guns? Just kidding. So, anything like that, just again, to relate to someone. And all of you guys know me, so you know that Disney is one way that you could relate to me in a second. You mention Disney and you won't shut me up. So, but see, that's what I'm used to. So I think that if I can relate that somehow into the conversation, it just makes people feel comfortable. So, and telling those stories about yourself and about your situations and your experiences, and then somehow redirecting that back to what you need to come across to that person. Again, it's about having that conversation and just making them feel comfortable so that when you do have to ask a direct question, they're going to feel comfortable enough to tell you the answer. And they're going to listen to you, because just that pure conversation is going to make them trust you. I promise. And then the last one is dream. So dream is, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years, 10 years? Ultimately, is there places you want to vacation or a specific house? Hey, I'm buying this co-op now, but ultimately I want to buy, my own 3-family house, 2-family house. I want to move to this state or that state. There's so much that you can find out about a person through F.O.R.D. Family, occupation, recreation, dream. So just really think about it and focus on having those conversations. I did that video before about having that successful open house. And part of that is not just like, hey, here's the house, let me know if you like it, but talking to people. And that's how you're going to gain those people that are going to be your buyers, even if they don't like the open house that you're on. Or if you're on a listing presentation, and even if they're not ready to sell, it's going to make you memorable compared to another agent. So these just little quick tips, and I hope this was valuable to you guys. And again, have an awesome weekend.